And we're back. Good evening. Hello, Celine, Nikki, and Teresa, Deb, and Nancy. How's everyone doing? I know it's been a long time, right? Kathy, how are you? It's been a while since we've come on and done one of these. Hello, Heather. But yes, welcome back. Good to be back, Laura. Nancy, feel like you just spoke with Nancy, didn't you? John McGinnis, how are you? Donna Schultz, Christine, good to be back. Yeah, good to be back. Um, we'll take you through the ride, the whole entire thing, beginning to end. Cheryl, how are you? Um, uh, I'll start at the beginning, I guess, and cover from where we where we are now. Luann, Dominique. So first of all, I'll start with the good stuff. The good stuff is that um, the biopsies came back as benign. So uh, thank to the powers that
Yeah, it's
be, to
kind of
God.
it's kind of funny how that whole thing worked out. So I have a autoimmune disease, and I went to see my doctor to make sure that it wasn't my thyroid that was causing the issues that I'm having with my auto disease. I already knew that I had a tumor growing out of my thyroid, and it was benign from
But
before.
you've been having stomach issues
But I've been
for.
having stomach issues for years, and it's just getting worse and worse, and eating is getting worse and more difficult and challenging. So I go to rule out something, and then I got smacked in the face right before Christmas. Hey, you have 5 masses in your throat, and two very big ones out of your one out of your thyroid, one right next to it, pressing on your airways, pressing on your esophagus. You need to get to a doctor ASAP, a specialist.
They said
And
they
we,
looked suspicious.
yeah, so we were struggling to find an appointment before July, and we couldn't. And Chip heard about it. Chip has a great doctor who reached out to me and made this whole whirlwind of what was happening. So yeah, the concern about cancer and all this stuff. And now where I'm going in to worry about an autoimmune disease, this comes up because of this. So we get down there, do the test, and John's going to tell you the fun stuff that happened when we're down there because it's always an adventure between us two. But the doctor reached out to me today and said, I got great news for you. They are benign. We just need to worry about the sizes and keep an eye on them. So that's how that whole thing started, was just me going in about an autoimmune disease thing and then getting sprung with all of this. So that was the good news that I believe 100%. And John knows how I feel about this. I just said this to somebody else that reached out to me. I believe the sport that I have, no matter what the outcome was or is or was going to be, I was already a winner because I have everybody's support and everybody's been behind us. And I feel that it's one of the reasons why I did get a good result and an outcome was because of the support that every single one of you and the energy that you put out and the positive and the praying that you guys did for us. So thank you.
You're literally told like a month or two ordeal in.
Just a real quick
Okay, good night, guys.
synopsis.
Thanks for
No,
joining us. And
now we're going to go through the whole thing that happened while we're there. It's
it
funny,
is
but
so funny
that's
how you
kind of
you really have no pacing,
no, I
no
don't.
storytelling
No,
ability.
but
You
I
you
just
were literally you would tell the Lord of the Rings, which is three-hour movies like
there was
this.
a ring. You
Well,
took
there
it. They
was a
go back and
ring, there
forth.
were
It's
some
evil,
small
and
people, elves, everything. But at the end, the king won, and they
I,
killed all the bad people. The end.
pretty much. I'm not. I'm not gonna. I'm not a dragger out of things. I'm not a. I just. It is what it is, and I am so grateful for everything and everybody that's been behind this. And I do believe. I know that we've been asked this personally. This question: do you believe when
Cliff
somebody
notes,
says,
exactly,
"Yeah"?
Heather.
I do believe that when somebody says, they asked us, do you believe when somebody says, I'll say a prayer for you, that it really makes a difference? Like, when somebody's saying, hey, I'm going to start a prayer circle. Hey, I do. I do. Because I believe that the more positive that you create and the more energy, it doesn't mean everything's going to be okay. It doesn't mean that miraculously, everything's going to turn into sunshine and rainbows and unicorns. It doesn't. But what it means is that it gives us the strength and the power to know that people support you and behind you no matter what you're facing. I believe in that. I believe in that wholeheartedly. I don't speak it and just say it. I mean it from my heart. people who know me know that I mean this. When I say I'm saying a prayer for you, I am saying a prayer for you. I'm saying for positive things. I'm giving you support. I'm going to hold your hand through whatever you're going through. And that's what I feel like. Everybody here has held our hands through this, and I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah, we've been dealing with this. Probably the new year has been rough,
Brutal.
just really, really rough, and um, it affected everything that we do, in our personal lives, with New Jersey Paranormal, with the expo. I mean, everything was just trying to keep stuff afloat while we handled and figured out
It was like we were
what
going
was
through a
going to happen.
landmine.
Yeah,
We were being very careful not to
and
step on a mine that was going to blow us up.
and I was telling anyone who listened that, look, the truth of the matter is, if something bad was to happen, and thank God it didn't, but yeah, all this stops tomorrow. She's more important than any of it, and all of it. It would just end. We wouldn't do it anymore, and we were kind of, we just didn't know. So the whole process of um, the nodules being discovered and the issues she's continually having, I mean, that was very concerning, still concerning, with her ability to handle any kind of food. I was really kind of thinking that maybe this is bad. It's not just the thyroid thing. Maybe there's more going on that, you know what I mean? We don't know. So, um, yeah, I was definitely scared and nervous, and I told all of my friends that, hey, my children, Chris, they're everything to me, and nothing matters beyond that, you know, and I have a hard time sleeping, you know, nervous, scared. We if you see any kind of specialist in your life, and I have to see a neurologist and a neurosurgeon, that even to get an appointment with your MD could take 2 to 3 months.
Longer.
A specialist is
way longer.
Longer than that. So our MD is telling us, and the GI doctor, that we have to get these nodules looked at as soon as possible. Yet every doctor she called in New Jersey to do that, endocrinologists and other, were telling us August at least.
Yeah, end of July, August.
We can't wait that long.
Yeah.
So again, very fortunate in that, and I'm going to get further down the line where we actually bring Chip and.
No, Laura, it's not hereditary.
Just a conversation with Chip about how he's doing turned into a conversation about what was going on with her, and Chip said, I have a friend who's an endocrinologist. I could call him and see what I could do to get you in there sooner. And it literally went from
the next day
that call to he's going to call you from his personal cell phone number, and he's going to see if he can help you and arrange something. And next day he called from his cell phone, and we're set up to go to Georgia, to Atlanta on the 24th, which was what, a week and a half, 2 weeks after we've been trying, or after we had made initial contact with that doctor. It was just, boom, you're coming. Yeah. And believe me, we did not want to go.
Not only to get in to see him, but he booked the
biopsies
for the biopsies too, because he knew I couldn't do it the same day. He did it for the next day.
He set all that up.
He set all that up, and he made it as smooth. I mean, he came in on a day off. You guys, this guy's a hero. This guy is a human being. That he's the doctor and he specializes in what he does, and he's really good at what he does. Chip recommended him very highly. But the thing that this doctor came in on a day off to do this, and had never met us before.
So again, I'm going to try to stop you from fast forward and hitting the fast forward button. So we now we have to make plans to go to Georgia, and in the time frame of the other stuff that we're doing. Now we had those 2 canceled events because of the weather at Liberty Hall, and then we had back-to-back Smith Cadbury, which, by the way, again, great place. Gary is awesome and great people. They supported us. They knew what was going on. We were fortunate in that, you know, everything on our it's kind of hard to explain in the fact that, you know, there are priorities in your life, there are obligations in your life, there are things that you commit to, and they're very important to me and to us and to New Jersey Paranormal as a whole. And but the bottom line, when you get to the bottom thing, is that the most important thing is here. You know, so for me, yes, we had these obligations and everything, but like I said, if something bad were to happen, New Jersey Paranormal schedule would have just been scrapped for the year, maybe forever, depending on what happened. So we had these commitments. We were very fortunate in that um, we knew we had an early flight. We we had an Uber for Sunday because our appointment was for Monday, and we had never been to Georgia or Atlanta. We had no idea where we were going, so we had an Uber coming to pick us up at 4 in the morning. So we had an event. Smith Cadbury's an hour and 15 minutes from us. The event ended at 11. We were very fortunate for that event, and again, grateful for the people who were there. You know who you are if you were there, and there's a lot of good people that support us who were there, because we knew that it wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't us, or it wasn't the best of us. It was, we did what we do always at our events,
but the people there lifted us up.
But our minds were really thinking about what we had to deal with coming up and being nervous about that. But to your point, such a great group of people there that know us and that have supported us. They made that night so easy for us. They were happy to see each other because it had been the first time they had seen each other since November or whatever of last year. So hugs all around there, hugs all around for us, knowing what we were doing and what we were going to be going through. And just, it was more about, again, I hate to use the word because it's so corny and everybody and their mother is using it now, but it was more about the community. People talked about the vibes of that night. It was more about that than it was doing the paranormal stuff. Yeah, that was going on as well, but it was more about good friends, people that support each other, being together. And we needed that. Believe me.
God, we needed
we
that.
needed that so much that night. We didn't convey that to the people that were there. We thanked everyone. We hugged everyone. They all wished us well. But believe me,
it gave us the courage and the
needed that.
strength and the power to get through the next leg of what we had to get through.
Because if that night had been tough and it had been a grind and things had gone differently, it really, we needed that support and we needed to be around friends, and we got all of that. And we felt good leaving there and having pizza with people that we were with. It was, Samantha was there. We haven't seen Samantha in forever. It was, you know, me, Chris, Danielle, Samantha, Nikki, Brian, right, and Taylor. Just great people to be around before we were heading out.
Brianna, Luann, her husband.
You're talking about the people that showed up. Yeah,
there were so many people that just gave without knowing it.
So we left there, whatever time it was, 1:30 or whatever, knowing, come back here, take a shower, grab whatever other things we were going to need, and on no sleep, get the Uber, go to the airport, go through all that junk, and get on a plane for 2 hours to land in a place we've never been in, get the rental car. And if you ever saw My Cousin Vinny, that was this guy in the South. I thought South Jersey was bad. The South is way different than it was Crocodile Dundee.
John was a fish out of water, let me tell you.
Not fit in there one bit. So we we get through Newark Airport,
Hey,
which
David.
which is a breeze compared to Atlanta's airport, and we land in Georgia. Weather was great in Georgia. The hotel was about a couple of miles
Now a mile like that.
from the airport, so we're in this hotel, and the very first thing is you have to pay for parking. I never
And
heard
it's
of
really
that
expensive.
before, and it was. And we were going to be there Sunday just to get acclimated, get some sleep, you know, get our bearings and rent the car and figure out where we're going the next day near the city of Atlanta. So we were there Sunday, we were there Monday, which was the appointment. And again, flying in, getting there's a damn path train inside the airport in Atlanta.
Tran.
No, that you get that train thing. Well, that's to get
Yeah.
to the rent a car. From the rent a car, you take
Yeah.
that train to the airport. No, I'm doing it the opposite.
Okay.
We're in the airport. We're trying to figure out where we have to go for the rental. So some lady says to us, "You got to go, y'all." That's the first y'all I heard. Y'all got to go across the street. And we're like, okay. And Chris is like, you understand, there is no across the street. This airport is huge.
It's a town.
We're walking, we're walking, we're walking, we're walking. Finally, we see this train thing, and we're like, let's get on the train thing. And we take the train thing down to the last one, and we get off. And then finally, we found a nice lady who's like, you go up the stairs, you'll see the rent a car signs, and then you got to get on the Sky Tran, whatever they call that thing, which goes through like a town or two to get to the car rental. Now, this was kind of funny because me and my sense of humor. When you rent the car, they literally go, um, when you enter the thing, it's huge, cars everywhere. And they're like any car from the first three, depending on what kind of car you want, a compact, whatever. So there's hundreds of cars, and there's us and another couple, mother and daughter, walking in the same aisle. And we're just looking at cars and trying to figure out the one we want. So I'm watching this other mother and daughter, and they stop in a car and they open it up and they're getting in. I said, "Excuse me, that's the car we were going to pick." And they're like, "Really?" And they're looking all around at like all these cars.
The mother laughed. The daughter, the adult daughter, did not. She looked at John like, "You got issue," and I'm going, "He's just joking. He's just joking."
I'm just kidding with y'all. And that was again. So
that's right. Real quick, Tanisha's right, or is it Daryl on there? I can't see. It's probably Daryl. About how the South here in New Jersey ain't so bad now, is it?
Not a bit. No, not a, it's still weird and different, but so so now we have to drive to the hotel, and the hotel was nice, had a lot of elevator problems, but it was a nice hotel. And um we decided, we went out to eat. Food was really good. Food was really good, but within an hour of being there, let's say two, I must have heard 30 to 40 people say, y'all, welcome to y'all, what y'all want to eat? What y'all staying in room number whatever?
Y'all can
y'all gonna park your car over there? And I'm like, it almost is like an act. Like it's like they have to do it.
John can't handle anything that somehow is not in his wheelhouse.
It seems so weird that everybody would say y'all. Like in Jersey, nobody says
they go, hey.
The same thing. People say, how you doing? But like not everybody. Everybody.
You don't think that New Jersey has their own little niche of?
No, I don't.
Dominique, all of you on here that are not from here, you would all say when you come up here, it's a whole different world, right? Completely different. You're out of your element, and the way people talk and respond. So yes,
y'all. So Chip is explaining to me that y'all is for a group of people or one person. You can say y'all to y'all, or you can say oh y'all, or not even. No, it's just y'all. And I'm like, wow. So we get to the hotel, we crash. We're tired. We didn't sleep the whole night, so we go to the hotel, we crash. Now we get up. We're hungry. The guy at the hotel recommended this place to eat, which was we walked to, which was the food there was really good.
It was awesome.
Really good.
They had an amazing chicken I could eat there.
So then we go over to the Circle K, which for those of you Jersey people who don't understand South, that's our Wawa
A 7
or our,
Eleven.
yeah, our 7-Eleven, Circle K. And they have racetrack as well. Racetrack is Wawa. So, or Quick Check. So we're over there and we're buying kind of supplies and stuff that we like, just like water and snacks and whatever. So,
Yeah, I'm trying to find pudding and yogurt. Try to find that at these places.
so now we, again, we're tired. So the first day there, we're just kind of getting what we need and staying at the hotel and watching TV and just, but the weather, again, gorgeous. So, Monday comes, that's our appointment. So again, we go to this appointment and well, let me tell you about Monday morning before the appointment. We go to breakfast. What's it called?
Buttermilk biscuit.
Now,
Whew,
good food. Again,
great food.
we didn't have any bad food the whole time, and I'm the world's worst eater. And buttermilk
biscuit.
biscuit, eggs, phenomenal. Bacon, phenomenal. The bread, what is it with the South and sweet bread? What's going on there? I had like different bread from different places, and it all was kind of sweet. And you ruined my toast. And why don't you heat up potatoes? What is it about potatoes that you don't like heating up? I
I
like
had fruit,
hash browns and
blueberries and
potatoes. They
strawberries.
were
They
cold.
were great.
So that otherwise food was great. So much for this one hooks on something. She wants to go back, and but again, as soon as we sat down, how y'all doing this morning? And I'm like, ugh.
Oh, I love monkey bread. I can't have it.
How y'all doing this morning? Where y'all from? We're from Jersey. Oh, I've been to Jersey. This part, my cousin or whatever lives here. There, y'all, y'all know where that is. We're like, yeah, we know where that is. Can we eat? No, I'm kidding. So she's again very nice. Everyone's very nice. So got the food there. Food is awesome. But again, must have been 20 y'all's
Amazing
in
food.
that place.
Amazing food there.
So now we go to Dunkin' Donuts.
This is where we lose
Donuts.
John.
This is familiar territory to this guy.
Hey, Alex.
Dunkin' Donuts. I go to Dunkin' Donuts, pull in, and first I order her. She always gets a medium coffee with 6 creams. That's it. So I ordered that, no problem. Then I said, I want a large hot tea, black, with,
You said light
I
and
said
sweet.
light and sweet.
Yeah.
Light and sweet. Now, light and sweet usually means
a lot of milk and a lot of
creams,
sugar.
6 creams,
Yeah.
6 sugars, whatever. So the woman behind the counter says, 5 cur, 6 cur, 7 cur. And I said, I don't.
I told you.
I'm looking at her and she's looking at me and I said, I don't. She goes, 5 cur, 6 cur, 7 cur.
And
I
that's
said,
when I figured out it was.
and I looked
at sugar.
I looked at Chris and I'm like, you ruined, she literally ruined the joke.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I mean, dude.
Wow. Anyway, so I'm looking at her and I'm like, do I need Google Translate or something here? Because I am not understanding what cur is. I thought cur was something down south, like they put in tea that we don't hear. So finally, like the label and stuff, and I'm like, oh, sugar. I'm like, yeah, 6 creams and 6 of those cur things you're talking about. And she did it, and she did it perfect. It was great tea. But I'm like, so we call up Chip from the parking lot in the Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm like, man, Chip, I said, I got to tell you, I said, between all the y'alls, and this is our first day there before we went to the doctor. I'm like, between all the y'alls, everybody with you, it's like brainwashed.
And I mimicked everybody to a T. It drove him crazy.
This was like a chameleon. Yeah, hon. Thanks, hon. We're just going to go around and look at some things this afternoon. And I'm like, who am I with? Who is this person? So I said, Chip.
Gets better.
I said, between the y'alls and the cur. And he's like, the what? I said, cur. You know what cur is? I said, because someone was asking me if I wanted 5 or 6 or 7 curd, and I didn't know what curd was, and I had to find out what curd is sugar. And you're like, well, sometimes people kind of mash the words or with different dialects, and I'm like, I said, I want to go home. I just want to go home. I don't know what I'm doing here. I just want to go home. So we we make it to the doctor. Now again, this doctor, that staff. I mean, you could talk about that stuff. I mean, wow, wow. That's where the Southern hospitality. I mean, holy cow.
They didn't know who I was when I walked in there. They did, you're going into the building and you're going in and for the thing, and people at the desk were courteous, they were kind. Let me help you, can you fill this out? And they did that with everybody that was in the waiting room. It was almost like there was a regard and respect, knowing that you're here and it's for health reasons and you're under duress, so what can we do to make it easier for you? And from start to finish, that's what every single one of the people in that office did. And I'm saying this because I've been going to a lot of doctors a lot lately, going through a lot of tests, and you do come across some remarkable people. There's no doubt about it. There's some very remarkable, unique people that stand out when you go to these places. But I find more and more, especially when it comes to people who have very critical health issues, that the industry is becoming cold and unhumane. They're not showing the compassion or the understanding that the person on the other side of that plexiglass or the person on the other side of that desk or the table are stressed. They're worried. The bills from the doctor visit, the health things that they're going through, they need a kindness, a gentleness to be shown, and that's missing more and more. And again, I say this, with tongue in cheek, that there are unique ones that are that way. They're few and far between, and when you find them, you value them. So to walk into an establishment where every single person did that for you from start to finish was so refreshing and so unique. And I wish that everybody got that same treatment that we got at that office. I wish that was universal.
Yeah, from the time we walked in the door from the parking lot at the front desk to the time we walked into the doctor's office, it was just like, wow. I mean, just nice. And it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't fake or phony.
No.
These were just genuine, caring people who knew what the people who were in that waiting room were potentially dealing with, and just taken back by it. It was just like everyone we talked to, and then we go inside, and there was the young guy,
Tony studying to be a doctor. Tony was.
They tell you everything.
They're humans. They talk to you.
Weird.
They're engaged with you. They were invested. We were going back and forth. He was telling us places where to go around Atlantic City, and about. He was talking. He goes, "Yeah, we don't have very much for the hunting or whatever." He was talking. It was just so unique to have conversations, and they made it a point to try to not make you wait for very long. They knew the anxiety of things, so it was just so unique to come across humans and not professional.
No, these were people. And again, like you said, even when you were waiting, you didn't know you were waiting because it was so courteous and nice. And it wasn't just like, idle chit chat. They were trying to connect with you. Oh, okay, I've been to New Jersey. I went here. I went to school here. I went there. Really nice guy. And it was just like, wow, this is really different.
Tony All-Star, this and that.
I've been to doctors where they walk in the room. How you doing? Blood pressure thing. Put the thing on your finger. All right, doctor will be in. Wait here for another 30 minutes until the doctor knocks on the door. Not this place. So Tony leaves, and then the doctor comes in, and he's even better than Tony. He's just,
how is that possible?
Nice guy,
yeah,
friendly guy, down to earth. They explain everything. That's what I appreciate.
The doctor's assistant, she was amazing. She stood in the room with us for 45 minutes after the procedure, just to make sure she just talking, being human, and doing what?
He jump ahead.
What did I jump ahead for?
That was. Go ahead.
Well, you said the doctor.
Yeah.
And then she was there too.
Yeah. Do you remember her name?
Off the top of my head, no. I don't know why, but I don't.
She, again, I don't want to.
I want to say
She
Natasha.
had family from our part of the coast.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Yeah, I don't want to say where because I don't know who's watching or whatever. But she was really really nice, and like Chris said, 45 minutes we just sat in that room talking about the procedure, what would happen potentially next, and just about the area because we were talking about not being from around there, different things we could do, different places we could go, where have we been. It was just like, again, we're sitting there like, wow. And none of it felt like, somebody was stalling us. We had seen the doctor. They had done everything they were going to do. So Monday we met the doctor. Sunday we went, Tuesday we went back for the biopsy. And that took a while because the procedure took a while. And then we talked to the doctor and the assistant. So we were there for 3 hours or more on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that's the day where, again, she was sore. She couldn't eat.
Most of you could see in the picture the next day, my face was swollen.
So
chip in them.
Here she's sore and she can't eat. And again, we had to be at the doctor's office. I can't remember what time. So we had been there for a while. We ate breakfast. Because we knew she weren't going to be able to eat later. We went back to the buttermilk and whatever it was called.
Biscuit.
And so then on the way back, I knew she couldn't eat. So I'm like, I'm not going to go to some restaurant and order food or whatever. So we go to the racetrack, which is the Wawa. And she's like, what did you get? Like parfait or Jello?
Yogurt.
Or what'd you get?
Yeah.
And I'm looking around for anything to eat. They had like pre-made hamburgers and hot dogs and all that wrapped up. And stupid as I look, and it looked like what it looked like pizza. It did.
Like Domino's pizza.
It looked like pizza. And I'm looking at it. And me and another guy are looking at it. And I'm like, some plain, that don't look bad. There's a pepperoni. I'm like, it don't look bad. It looks like you said, Domino's. And I'm like, I'm going to take a shot because I wasn't going to go back out and leave her in the hotel room. So I get 2 of these slices. And go back to the hotel. They got a microwave in a room. It was around the corner a little bit. I heat them up. I ate a quarter of a slice and I felt like I was going to puke. It was disgusting. Disgusting.
And I was he said, this is going to be disgusting.
I knew it. You knew it. There's no way a racetrack makes pizza. No, but you never know until you try. I really felt like I was going to vomit. So I throw away that junk pizza and I call Domino's. Domino's, right? You can't mess up Domino's. Domino's arrives cold. It's onions and peppers. Cold.
And we had to go out of the hotel, which are on the 9th floor, the hotel, past the gate because you can't come in because it's gated. So we had to go outside.
Yeah, you needed your hotel fee
and wait outside for the pizza. And an area you shouldn't be outside.
So we meet this dude, come up, pizza's cold. And he's in a van with like cleaning products and stuff. That grossed me out too. So take it upstairs, microwave it. The bread was sweet. I don't know why the bread is sweet. It tastes like onions and peppers. It was sweet. And I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. And I was hungry. So I wound up forcing 2 slices. And I threw it in the friggin' garbage. And I walked over to the Circle K and I got myself apple pies. That I do sugar ones. Oh, disgusting. I'm like, what is it with bread and these people? And Kerr, what are they doing? So then
it gets better.
So then we rest. And now we have Wednesday. Wednesday, she couldn't fly out for 24 hours after the biopsy because they said the altitude and the pressure could cause blood clots. So we had to wait till Thursday morning to fly out. So now we have Wednesday to ourselves. And good for us because Wednesday, 73 degrees.
Ah, beautiful day.
Beautiful day. Sun. So we decide we're going to go do something. So we're trying to figure out what to do. So I booked the Walking Dead tour because it's filmed in Sonoya. and that's about 40 minutes from where we were, a hotel, something like that.
Yeah.
So I decided we're going to book the 3 hour tour. Sound familiar? 3 hour tour.
It felt
And
like it.
but before that, we got time before the tour. So during the day, we go get our breakfast. We were going to go to the Waffle House because Waffle Houses are in every corner, and I wanted to say I've been to a Waffle House, but I had a feeling if we went, it was going to be gross. So we go to this other folk art place, which was.
The food was gross, but the inside was pretty remarkable.
So then we hear about the Doll Trail. We saw it on Google or whatever, and people were giving it reviews that it's so cool. We're going to go to the Doll Trail, and then we're going to go to the Walking Dead thing. That was going to be our day because we wanted to be outside. It was beautiful. So now we head to the Doll Trail, which is, again, about 30 minutes from the hotel. And there's all factories around. All of a sudden you pull off, and there's woods, and you drive back into the woods a
In the
little bit.
boonies.
Now, there's 3 cars in the parking lot, 2 of which had crackheads sleeping in them.
And he's not exaggerating.
No,
he's saying is the
they were
truth.
homeless people. I'm saying crackheads, but they were homeless people sleeping in the cars that are just kind of parked by the trail. Does that stop someone from getting out of the car and walking down the trail?
No.
Nope, why would it?
No.
Entering the trail, there's a pair of men's underwear. Entering, right there. And I'm like, I'm looking back.
It's cemented at this point, this walkway.
And I'm looking back, and I'm like, where are the cars? Is anybody getting out of those cars since we got out of the cars? Okay. Now we're walking a little further up along. There's a pair of pants that I guess belonged to the guy with the underwear. So I'm like, what the hell? This is the last couple that wandered back here, the remains of whoever they are. So then we go, keep going. We're going way into the woods now. There's a jacket just laying on the ground, just there.
It's a 5-mile hike.
You go way into the woods.
You do.
So now we're walking, and this one says to me,
No, wait. That's not yet.
No, it wasn't after the bridge. It was before the bridge.
No.
We went over the bridge and talked to the fisherman?
You talked to the fisherman first because it's all swampy when you get over to the
yeah,
bridge.
It's the swampy on either side.
And it's no longer paved.
So there was this man-made wooden bridge, and we walk across that beautiful man-made bridge.
Gorgeous.
And there's this guy out there all by himself, fishing. Nice enough guy. Didn't look like a serial killer.
You did, Jonathan.
But the whole time I'm walking, ask her, I'm looking back. Because if someone's on that trail and started following us from the time we came in, yeah, you better believe. And this one looking back, well, just
I'm paying attention.
Looking back, I'm like this, looking back. So now we get over the bridge and we're walking, and she says to me, "You gotta look for the slide marks along the bank here."
Either side, it became one where you could walk as one.
We're in dirt.
And on either side is swamp.
And I'm like, she's like, for gators. Gators are habitual creatures. They go to the. I said, there's fucking alligators. Excuse my language. I said, there's friggin' alligators out here. I'm like, what am I doing 2 miles into the woods with serial killers behind us and alligators? And now I'm looking back. I'm looking she's walking ahead of me, and I'm like this, because you couldn't see that with all the brush and the leaves and the mud and the water. I'm like, they could be anywhere. And she's walking up ahead of me. Now we're on the Doll Trail, and I took that video, but I really couldn't enjoy it because I'm looking for gators everywhere.
But he was so focused on gators that he didn't realize that he'd walked deep into the woods.
I had no choice. I didn't to walk all the way back. We were already like halfway into it. So now I'm like head on a swivel. I'm looking everywhere for gators, and I'm looking for the serial killers. And this one just keeps walking. I'm like, she's a hillbilly. She's used to gators. I'm not. So this guy comes walking through the opposite angle, and he's got one of those cameras that look like
telescope
a
camera
triangle. Yeah, it's like a long one. He's got a tripod. He comes walking, and he's like, "How y'all doing?" I'm like, "We're doing okay." I'm like, "We're checking out the Doll Trail." He's like, "Yeah, a lot of people come by here and do that." He goes, not, he goes, not a great area, but this area is okay or whatever. A lot of people come, and I'm like, yeah. I said, what are you doing here? He's like, a lot of wildlife. He goes, I get some great pictures of wildlife out here. I said, speaking of wildlife, I said, there are any gators around here? He goes, gators? No, there's no gators in this part of Georgia whatsoever. And I looked at her, and she's cracking up laughing. And I'm like, you're a son of a bee. You really mess with me. I mean, she knows my phobia of outdoors and gators. You might as well tell me that they were land sharks, because that's what they are. Gators are land sharks. I was not, and she'd be walking. I'm like, how much should be walking when a gator could be right there? Everything was mud.
Because Florida,
Mud
I
and
lived in
water.
Florida where there was a lot where we went that the gators did. That's why I knew enough to scare you.
I did not belong out
Ouch.
there. Because we were just.
And I said to him, why did you ask him that? We're already this far in. Because there's about a mile bridge that goes right across the swamp. And he was afraid that
I wasn't crossing that thing.
Come
It was right before we went over that bridge. The bridge is wood and planks.
Listen.
And it goes, and that water didn't look that deep. And I said, this is the effing food court. If I walk over that thing, these gators are going to be like, look at this freaking idiot. He deserves to be eating. It's just a food court. This is where they come.
It's not very often I get John. That was so
Squatch. I would have preferred Squatch.
Wonderful to get him for once.
So I wasn't crossing that bridge, and thank God that guy came by, because ain't no way I was walking over that water.
He wouldn't have either.
No freaking way.
But it was absolutely
the Doll Trail was
gorgeous.
Awesome. It was awesome.
It was
awesome.
It was very unique. So
I would have liked to have enjoyed it like the right way, without being fear of being eaten by gators, but it was cool nonetheless. Very cruel of you to ruin that for me, but
so
you're a sick person.
Anyways, the Doll Trail, if you're ever there, it's pretty cool. You go in and there's rules, and that they have them posted that you can't bring anything in. Whatever's there is there. It's controlled by this artistic group that does it. It's unique. It seems like you're going into a Blair Witch kind of thing. It's creepy.
Oh, it's definitely.
It's really creepy.
I wouldn't go through there in the dark, especially because crackheads. But I wouldn't go through there in the dark if my life depended on it.
No. That would be very dangerous. But as we got halfway through it, I saw a thing where it states that you could take anything that's in there that they have. They have all kinds of stuff, but you can actually pick up and move and create your own piece of art and statement out of anything that's there. So each different station had different things where people did, and you could take any piece of junk or anything that was there and redo it. What?
Oh yeah, Zach went to Doll Island, so you're right. Maybe Zach would do that.
Yeah, that's right. You can't take anything out, only the memories.
But so we were way in the woods, because we went over the bridge, and it took us a while to get back to where the car was. Which again, you're leaving those woods, and there are those cars still out there, and there was a guy kind of walking around his car, just kind of like. And luckily for us and for them, I guess, there was a person in front of us that had 3 dogs, and
big dogs.
She was walking out in front of us, so I'm like, that crackhead comes after her. Dogs are gonna take care of that. So we got back to the car, and now we're gonna go to The Walking Dead. Now, The Walking Dead comic is amazing. Graphic novels, amazing. The show was good up until like Rick died, and then it just went to shit. But it was cool, the idea of being able to tour. If you don't know anything about the show, there was like different towns and communities that they would go to throughout the 10 seasons. Woodbury, Alexandria, Herschel's Farm, the other thing that started with the T that had the cannibals, like the main beginning where they show the broken down farm. So the 3-hour tour was we were going to get in a van, and we're supposed to, I hope she's not watching. If she's watching, you still did do a great tour. If you're watching, I think her name is Wendy, I think. But 3-hour tour. So literally, Sonoya is a beautiful little downtown area, and that's Woodbury. If you know the show, you know what Woodbury is. It's where the governor was, and kind of they were trying to restart a community again, but the governor was evil and blah, blah, blah. In the show, they make it look like Woodbury and Alexandria are nowhere near each other. You got to go through these long highways and stuff. When in reality, Woodbury is a road that goes to the right and up a hill. Alexandria is at the bottom of the hill in like a cul-de-sac area that had all the metal fence around it. Pretty cool. And that it must have looked really cool when it was there, but now,
yeah, with no wall.
It's just the downtown and then a bunch of big houses in a cul-de-sac. I mean, it was cool.
It looks like a set though.
And she's showing us pictures. She's got a binder and a tablet, and she's showing us pictures of, this is the house that Rick lived in. This is the house. If you don't know the show, Michonne and Carl sat on that house and ate the pudding. I mean, it was cool to actually be in those areas, but we couldn't get out because they were privately owned.
Yeah.
So we had to take pictures like from the street or like down the road or from the van. And it was kind of like, she was so nice too. She was telling us things to do that we could have done if we had known sooner in Atlanta and around Atlanta. But like the tour itself, you really never got to get out and really walk around the really cool areas because they were all privately owned.
And with the luck that we have, which was very funny, there was a specific spot we were supposed to be taken to see, but unfortunately, in the middle of the tour, she gets a call, and those sites,
thank you, Deb.
Those sites are on fire, so we couldn't go to them.
But and again, we were told all those stories how the people still lived in the houses, and on Woodbury, which is downtown Sonoya, people would enter. The shops were still open. They would enter through the back because they were filming in the front. And they would pay those people like $4,000 a day.
The person who gave us the tour, she did an amazing job. Very knowledgeable. She could tell you things. She took us on the roads where she could tell you where everything was filmed, who was filmed, what it was from, the direction. She was very knowledgeable. She even took us to the bridge
where
Rick Grimes.
They built an actual wooden bridge over a real bridge.
So that was pretty cool.
He blew himself up. But it's amazing how close. They filmed all within like a couple of miles of each other, the different locations.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is the spot where Rick told the group that it was a dictatorship. And I'm like, oh crap. We took a picture there. We took a lot of pictures. But Nick and Norman, that's a restaurant. Then we went to the museum. And like I said, I don't know what I was expecting to be able to enter Alexandria with the metal gates.
You could have.
That. I was expecting to see the hilltop and all the others, but
yeah, you can't go to Herschel's farm. It's privately owned, and it even said on the tour thing that they talk about going to Herschel's farm, but he doesn't allow anybody out there. It's all private. It's crazy. But again,
Walking Dead is awesome. The comics are way better. But so we finished the tour at 4:30, almost 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
and we're meeting Chip for dinner at 7:30.
Yeah.
And we're about an hour away from where Chip is. So
traffic-wise, everything's traffic-wise.
So where Chip is going to be is in a nice area, really, really nice area. But we have to go through like this part of Atlanta, I guess, where the colleges are or someplace like that.
It wouldn't have been a normal. The highway, the thing is the highway is like a parking lot, and it was during rush hour. So the
how about the car?
Go ahead, tell them.
Here's my very first impression of Atlanta, driving into the city of Atlanta, because we go right through it, past it. We're heading to the doctor's office, and we're on this 75-85 highway, which is a friggin' parking lot. And we're driving, and all of a sudden I look to my right, and there's a car. I have a picture of it that is totally burnt out. It was on fire, obviously, at some point, and just gutted by fire. And it's just sitting. It looked like it was from The Walking Dead, like it was a prop. It's just sitting there. And I'm like, that's kind of odd. I'm like, I said to her, could that have just happened? Like, why would they leave it there? That was there every single day we drove down that way. That car was there. Every day that car was there. And every time we passed it, I'm like, why are they leaving it? What's going on with these people?
John thought that Chip was trying to show us the real Atlanta, downtown Georgia, but what happened was our GPS took us off the main highway, which would have dropped us right off where we were to meet Chip. So it took us another way to avoid traffic, which I would have preferred the traffic.
There was it was sad because there was a lot of homeless in that area. A lot of homeless
I
people.
purposely ran a few red lights there.
There were a lot of homeless people, and it was just really sad to see that many
Yeah,
like
it was bad.
tents and clothing, all
Yep.
over the ground, and just it really is to see that just breaks your heart because you're just like, oh, how did it come to that? And they were, especially in that one specific area, was right down the road from what I'm thinking was the college. There were younger kids down a ways, but it was really sad. But we drove through all of that area, and then we're going through, and now we're seeing big mansions. And Rick Ross, was that mansion?
The hip hop Rick Ross?
Giant mega mansion that we drove by. So now we're going to meet Chip at a Bibby, and what was it called?
Bid'em and Biddy.
Bid'em and Biddy. So now we're with Chip, Mike McCall, great guy,
Yeah.
Greta Reefer, who we've known for years now with the expo. And we get there, they're there, and we go to this little tiny bitty, whatever it was called, restaurant. And I'm sitting sideways, facing the person. Greta was across from me. Mike was across from Chris, who was next to me, and Chip was at the head of the table. And, Chip is Chip. We're talking and we're joking. And Chip is a medium. I mean, he's proven that to me again and again. And we're talking serious stuff about what's going on. And he had said to me, because he knew I was concerned and I was worried, and he had said to me, he said, your mother keeps telling me to tell you to stop being afraid. Stop being afraid. And I looked him in the eye and I said to him, how do you say that to someone who is facing the possibility of losing, or someone that, not losing or even going through something with someone that means more to them than anything? You know what I mean? Whether it was my mom or my sister or my kids, how do you tell someone not to be afraid? It's not possible. I'm not just going to shut that off. I said it to everyone. I don't say this lightly. I probably couldn't survive without her. I wouldn't want to be here. I tell her all the time, I want to go first. I have to go first because I don't want to be here without her. So facing that, even though, thank God, and Chip said something very profound. He said, look, you have to have faith in that everything. It was almost like that movie Signs, with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Everything has led us here, in that our convention, us getting to know him, us becoming close friends with him, us going through what we're going through, and him knowing the doctor, us having an appointment within 2 weeks, the doctor being great, the biopsy being done. He's like, John, all of this stuff happened for a reason. They're angels looking out for you.
That's exactly what he said.
Who they are.
He was like, your daughter, his mother, he goes, the living angels that you have around you that are here on this earth. He was just like, all of this is leading to this very moment. And the doctor, in my eyes, is an angel and a hero in all of this. And it's what Chip said was very, very profound.
It was profound. And believe me, and I said to him, Chip, I would love to have faith in that. I really would.
I do.
But in my brain is, God forbid he was wrong, all of that would have meant nothing. And it would
That's sad.
It would have hurt more because I was given false faith.
I look at it different than you do, because no matter whatever the diagnosis was going to be and how it was, we had already won. And the reason why I say that is because the effort and what Chip did to put us in the place that we were, the support of everybody behind us, that is more than what most people get in this life.
And
that's what makes it all a win-win situation.
No, I was and I am very confident in saying that if treatment needed to be done in Atlanta and we had to do whatever we had to do to make that happen, money wise or whatever.
Yes, because
I
that doctor said to us, if this does not turn out the way that we hope it's going to be, he goes, and you can't get a good doctor there. He goes, we will make this surgery happen for you here.
I mean, I was very confident in that doctor and that team to take care of her if
Alex, you're
things
right. They
didn't
were.
go. No, believe me. I'm really superstitious when it
You
comes to
are.
religion and religious things. I think it's almost a jinx to ask for prayers for something because, again, I think you're setting yourself up for an even bigger fall than you would have experienced if you hadn't done that. That's just my crazy brain's way
You're
of
afraid to
thinking.
hope.
Um, I expect the worst and hope for the best.
What's that?
You have to prepare for either because it's the way it is. But anyway,
I have faith in what will be will be.
so while we're in Atlanta, um, my my sister passed last year in February, February 23rd. So we're on the plane, and I'm thinking about that
That's
as
right,
we're
Kathy.
going. Um, her longtime companion, who I've known for 20 something years, who they were both handicapped. They met because of that on social media. They lived together. They were married, but they weren't married. You know what I mean? They lived together, took care of each other, and they went into the nursing facility together. Um, I knew he wouldn't do well without her when she passed, and he had been in the hospital for a few weeks with pneumonia before we left. And again, couldn't see him much because I knew we were traveling. I knew we couldn't get sick. And I felt terrible about that. We did see him before we left. We took the chance. I was getting calls the entire week about his prognosis, and it was not good. It was getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And tried to do everything I could.
At one point, they gave us hope. They said he
Yeah,
was talking,
dialysis.
that it was
And,
dialysis.
yeah,
We were going
and
back and forth with that. And then the next day,
but
John gets a call and go, no, it went the
yeah,
other way. And
we agreed on hospice, and that was probably the day before we were heading back, and he passed on Saturday, and he didn't have family. Sandy and my sister, they had each other, and
but
that
the
was enough.
strange thing is that we did go to the hospital, and we were terrified that he was going to be passed while we were gone.
Yeah.
And we were able to go and see him again before he passed, and that was a blessing in itself.
So when we got back home, we went to the assisted living when it was on hospice, and we got to see him again and say what we had to say, and got the call the next morning that we had an event that night.
Yeah.
And we had canceled two at Liberty Hall. Tanya and Kenny are dealing with issues of their own that I can't talk about. That's their, um, story to tell. So they're not with us until we hear, about whatever this, they're going through. Um, Hopefully that improves and things are good for them soon. But it's me, Chris, Danielle, and Nikki has been nice enough to pitch in and help out, and she's been doing a great job. And but that night there was another event, and people paid, and I couldn't cancel the event because there was no one for me to fill in for me, and people had paid. They expected, they had waited for the event. So we honor our commitments. So I wasn't feeling well from the coming back from the trip from Atlanta. That, that happened with Frank, and we had an event. And believe me, it was another blessing in disguise in that the people Saturday night were great as well. Alex was there. It was great seeing Alex again. Sally Busher and family were there. Um, Nicole Busher was there, their adopted child,
Yep.
who we met for the first time, um, and just good people, really, really good people who were so enthused and so into it, and really were just so engaged and involved that it really just took my mind, and I was there. I wasn't anywhere outside of that building for 5 hours. I was there, and I needed to be there.
Yep.
Because
it was a nice change.
The reality of what had happened earlier and what is coming up with the memorial service, along with knowing the results were coming from those tests, it's if you sit down and you let your mind, she'll tell you. I don't stop moving, because if I stop, my brain will torture me to no end. It doesn't stop, so I can't stop. So that was a blessing in disguise, being with those people and doing the event, and just their enthusiasm, their mood. It was just good to
it was infectious.
Just unplug it for 4 hours, and then knowing, is going to plug back in. And so if you were there that night, again, it was a good night, and thank you guys for being there. And it was great seeing everybody. So now we're home, and dealing with, Frank's memorial. And here today comes. And we knew, I was doing the math in my head. I said, it's Monday. Tomorrow will be a week since she had the test. He said 10 days or less. So I knew
it was coming.
It was coming. And I'm scared. It just seemed like all these bad things were happening, one after the other after the other. And I thought this was going to be the last card in the house of cards to send it down for me. I really was.
And I was just going to get tests done and stuff because I want to be able to eat the food that everybody's bringing for the ceremony, the wedding. And that's what kind of started this whole thing, that I just want, is there something I can do to help me so that I can eat when the wedding comes? And then it snowballed into all this other stuff.
Yeah, but you wonder how much you could take. Like that whole thing about God only gives you as much as you can handle. I mean,
true. He thinks we're
Hercules. Who made that thing up? But I was really at the point where my daughter went through thyroid cancer and treatment, and it spread into her chest, and she went through 2 procedures and 3 treatments. And I would tell her, handle one thing at a time. Don't worry about the big picture. Go to the first surgery. Get that done.
Step by step.
Then we take it from there. What's the treatment after that? Then don't think beyond what that thing in front of you. It's easy to tell someone that when internally you're feeling like, oh my God, I have no control and I don't know what's going to happen, but you got to have a little faith in that. But still, you're nervous and you're scared. But I was, that would have been the last thing for me, to where all of my concentration and effort and would have been just on making sure she was okay. Nothing would have mattered past that. This would have stopped entirely. It would have. We were there. I mean, it was, and it's taken its toll, all of it, and we're trying to, again, navigate through going through all this stuff and what it means to us going forward.
I agree, Laura. It has been really tough for a lot of people lately, and it just seems to be the pattern. And I frustrate John sometimes because
never.
Even through this, he'll tell you, I don't crack. I'm always perpetually, and things are going to turn out. Things are going to be what they're going to be. Because I don't believe in wasting energy on what could be, what is. I believe in wasting the energy, and not even a waste. I believe in doing everything that moves you forward. We can't control the hand we're dealt in life for whatever reason, whether it's getting hit by a car or an accident, freak accident, or sickness that we can't. The bottom line is what do you do with what you've been dealt? How do you react to it? Are you going to waste more time? Or are you going to move forward and do the best you can for the best quality of life and live it to the fullest? And that is a choice I made many, many years ago. And I will keep doing that with everything and anything that I deal with. This man who, he talks about how much I mean to him and he wants to go first, which I think is kind of crappy because I think I've gone through enough in life and I don't want to be left alone either. So you go through a lot. What he goes through, I go through, and vice versa. But I do believe, and this is where John and I do balance ourselves out, because I can go up here and not look at the reality of a situation because I can't dwell in that. Where he goes down deep, and we level each other
I
out.
live
I
in
think
that
pretty.
space.
You do, you
Yeah.
do all the time, and I won't live there because life is short.
Yeah.
Life is too the cruelty, and I learned really early, if you're waiting for life to be fair, psst, throw in the towel. There's no such thing. Life is what it is. It's not a fairy tale. It's what you make of it. If you want to be positive, live in the positive. I know so many people that have it so much worse than me. And they get up every day and they're the kindest, the most generous, loving people who take joy every day. And they have no reason to, but they do. So who the heck am I to go and go, yeah, poor me, da da da, when I see that others go through more and they're not? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stand in my shoes, accept what life doles out to me, and live it to the best of my ability. And I'm going to be happy while I'm doing it.
No, this again, this makes the wedding that much more
Oh, God, yes.
of a celebration and an appreciation of, again, I know this sounds corny, but not just of our entire relationship and what we've been through, but of life and the people who are around us, our loved ones, our friends. It really is what it is because, again, it's a cliche, but it's true. Tomorrow really isn't promised
No,
to anyone ever.
no.
And you got to really live your life and think of the important people around you. And again, I know it sounds corny, but tell them you love them, tell them you appreciate them, enjoy the time you have because
You're right,
boy, the
Deb.
blink, it goes fast.
And,
And
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 we,
again, when it comes to my sister, yes, Frank's passing is sad. It's sad that, he passed and he was without her, but heaven is still a gray area for me, but I'm assuming and hoping that there is one and that those two are now together again and healthy without their health issues that they struggled with for years, and they're together for eternity.
there's no more suffering. There's
Yeah.
no more being somewhere you don't want to be. There's no more dealing with health issues. That's all gone. It's something totally different. And Deb, we know what you go through, and
Yeah.
I think you're doing remarkable.
Yeah.
I know how your road has not been easy for you, and I have a lot of admiration for a lot of you that I know your personal things, because you guys have been very generous to share that with me, and I would never put that out publicly, but each and every one of you, John will tell you, I know your stories. I know what you've gone through. I know what you go through, and for me, I think you guys are amazingly strong and resilient and just amazing. And that's how I want to walk through life. I want to walk through life with my head up and knowing that, yeah, I might stumble and it might be a little hard, but it's not going to stop me.
But take away the life's lessons from life. It's important. Learn, be a better person, take care of the people you love, be there for them. And if you're from Jersey, don't go south. Just save yourself a trip.
And look out
Maybe
for the
Florida.
gators.
I've never been to Florida. Florida's
You
nice
have to
beaches.
admit, that was a really good prank. That was a
Oh,
good
that
prank.
was
I got
hilarious. What would you say if I said directly? What would you say if I said I can connect people directly to their loved ones in heaven so they can see them? I would say that you probably can't really do that. And I would have to see it to believe it. That's what I would say because just because I'm involved in the paranormal and I have seen a lot and experienced a lot, I don't believe in everything everyone tells me. I'm a realist. If you showed me and demonstrated it, then I would be the first to pray at your church and say you really did what you said you could do. Otherwise, I don't know if that's true or not. Anyway, no, Pines, I'm never going there either. That'll never happen.
Oh, you got to tell them as if
Never
there's something,
happened.
some that there's gators
Anyway,
around it. We'll get in there.
To New Jersey Paranormal stuff.
Yep.
We probably will be going to the Creeper Gallery tomorrow night. If not us, then me. I know there's a lot of stuff there. It's been a while, and there's a lot of, like I said, I've been seeing the pictures here and there. Donna's been great to us. She's been texting me all the while about Chris and asking how things are going. There are 3 tickets left for the July March 29th event at the Sterling Hill Mine. I think you guys should come to that. I think you should get those tickets. Email newjerseyparanormal@yahoo.com. You have to spell out New Jersey Paranormal as one word at yahoo.com. Like I said, only 3 tickets left. You should definitely come to that. It's going to be a great time. Our first time at Sterling Hill Mine this year with a group of people and Jawan. I'm sure it's going to be really, really cool. The May 3rd event that we just announced, I had the wrong location. It's actually at Camp Evans, one of our favorite locations as well. Camp Evans in Wall Township. John will be there with haunted objects. Cody and Satori will be there with some haunted objects. And we're going to investigate the buildings with them as well. So you'll get a rotation with them separately or together. You'll get some object stuff going on. And, you get to enjoy the whole event and meet and greet and see the objects. And that's May 3rd. So tickets are available for that. Same way, New Jersey Paranormal. You have to spell out New Jersey Paranormal at yahoo.com. So email for both of those if you're interested. Those are the only 2 events that we have listed that have tickets for sale. And that's it, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night as we go to the Creeper Gallery and do what we do there. Again, thank you guys for the Saturday night before we left. Thank you guys for this past Saturday night. Thank you guys for being here. Your friendship and your support means the world to us.
Your prayers, your positive thoughts, everything. It's that you've helped us get through this and continue, and we can't say enough. This is today has been one of those, for the first time we've been able to breathe in a long while.
Yeah.
So thank each and every one of you from the bottom of our hearts. It means a lot.
All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock from the Creeper Gallery. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Take care.